Oh, when I stand up, you.
Question.
Yeah.
It's in the last section.
But if you send me that name, the guy from Haiti.
Joe.
Shifted and it's wrong.
Show.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That's good for me.
Okay.
Has to send me his.
Yeah, elevator. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Going to start this meeting with the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
have an announcement. This year's trunk retreat will be held at Secana Vineyards on October 25th, 2025, and is hosted again here by the Little Compton Police and Fire Department. I don't know if anyone's been to that. I went to my first one last year and it was really good. It was really fun. A lot of kids in costumes, if you can believe it. It was really nice. Approval of minutes of a motion.
Motion to approve the minutes of August 21st, August 27th, September 11th, as written, unless anybody wants to comment or pull anything out.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a department head reports. We're going to have number 5 finance director give a verbal report to the council on the town finances. This will be a monthly report. This will be his first. Is there anyone want to take anything out besides the finance director's report?
Motion to approve the town clerk, tester, director, senior service in the fire department reports for August on file, unless anybody wants to comment on those.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
John McNamee, would you like to give a verbal report to the council on the town finances that with you?
Thank you, Mr. President. So on the screen, you'll see that we're basically talking about 3 years of financial information. So the far left-hand column is our audited for 2023, and those are from the financial statements. Again, this is for the general fund. We have the unaudited amounts for 2024. This was taking off the numbers that we submitted to the auditors to perform their audit at this point in time. So I'm not anticipating any additional adjustments to those. 25, I'm still working through those numbers, but this is a pretty good estimate of where we're going to land for 25. And then what I'll be doing is updating with the current financial information. So I've got the 2 months ended August 31st, 25, along with the FY26 budget. And what I will do is be updating that projection column to show where we're going to wind up as we proceed through the year. But let's just talk about 24 for now. That number that we're looking at is a excess of expenses over revenues of $1,478,000. So that's the amount of the accumulated surplus that we're going to be using or have used. See that $1,478,000, if you look at that bottom line on that 24 column, you'll see that our remaining accumulated surplus as of the end of 24, $687,057. That, and then if we go over to the next column where we see the unaudited amount, we're currently looking at $1,493,000 as a loss in the 25 year. We have $1,687,000 coming over as our accumulated surplus, so that's leaving us with $193,480 of accumulated surplus. Now, when you look at the budget column, you can see that on the budget, we were expecting to use 1,116,796 of our accumulated surplus. So we're up a little bit higher than that. In the 25 numbers, we had a little over $1 million for road paving that was charged to 25 that was not in the budget. There was a little bit in DPW for road paving. So that mitigated that million a little bit. And if you look at Parks and Recreation, in the budget, we had 567,200 in the budget. We only spent 322,585. That difference was the 175 for pickleball, which has already been included in the capital projects fund. So there's roughly about 683,000 of accumulated surplus sitting in a special revenue fund, the capital projects fund. So that's not included in this. So we do have a little bit more of a surplus in that capital projects fund. The 25 numbers I'm still working through, but the bigger numbers like the tax collections, those numbers have been solidified for the most part. There are a few revenue items that I'm looking through to make sure that those have been properly recorded, and they're a little bit on the expense side that I'm working through, but I'm not anticipating a significant change from that 1,493,577. So let's move on to the more positive. It's been, well, I've been in that position for about 10 weeks. Seems like 10 months, but it's 10. And things are coming together. You can see on the 8/31/25 numbers, we collected $3,242,000 in revenue. We had expenditures of $2,199,000. So we're showing a positive cash flow of $1,042,000, which is on the good side. As I indicated at the last meeting, tax collections have been coming in pretty nicely. We got the bills out a little bit earlier. And so we've seen some really good cash collections in July and in August. And of course, this past week was the due date. So we have a pretty good month. So September should be a positive cash flow month as well, too. Of course, July and August, the schools are not in session, so we don't have teacher payrolls and we don't have a lot of school expenditures. So those things are going to, we're going to have to look at those going forward. So from a cash flow standpoint, we're still monitoring that. Anytime you're utilizing over the last 2 years, like we have $2.9 million of our accumulated surplus, it does impact your cash flow. So we're still closely monitoring those numbers. But, you know, with the votes that we're taking at the financial town meeting, I think I positioned us in a good position to move forward and kind of mitigate some of the losses that we've had in in 24 and 25. So I think we should be pretty positive about where we're moving towards in the right direction for 26. I don't know if you have any questions.
On the 2025, the budget versus the unaudited, we've got really far behind in what was collected from the total state resources and other revenue versus the budget. What were those revenues that we were expecting from the state?
So the state revenues, I've got to look to see what they had put into the budget. Generally included in that is a 300 and some odd thousand, which is the housing aid to offset the bond, the school bond. So I want to make sure that that's been properly recorded. I'm not sure, but that's one of the numbers I need to look at because that's a significant difference on the revenue side. We also have booked some of the building permit revenues that were not recorded in the past. So those numbers have all been updated both in the 24 and also in the 25 numbers. And then we're currently receiving that building permit revenue from OpenGov on a actually a weekly basis right now. So
Further questions from the council? John, thank you for your report, and we look forward to next month's report. Do we have a question?
Like to place this on file.
Motion to place the finance report on file.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. State your name, please.
My name is, for the record, is Vincent Kennedy. I'm an unaffiliated voter signing on Big Drum Road. I would like to offer the town council, particularly John, a heartfelt thank you for bringing financial information before the town. Thank you very much. I know it's been a very difficult effort. Again, thank you very much.
thank you.
Sal, do you have a question? Comment? Story?
How many times tonight, Sal?
This is one.
This is one. You're limited to 5. You're limited
I made
to
him.
5.
Go right ahead, sir.
I'm just wondering about the, I know we had a huge asphalt bill. How did we handle that?
So that was booked in 25. So that expense is in 25. And we paid them, I met with them, paid them $500,000 of initial payments. And as the tax came in, I paid them another $250 middle of August and finished them off before the end of August with another $250 to get them home. You're welcome.
Terry?
Bill Terry, just a quick question. I thought that in the town meeting, we were for an 11.3% rate increase that would have resulted in a break-even budget. Since we approved 12%, I'm surprised that the budget doesn't show some slight surplus.
That budget, so that budget includes, so well, what I'll do is adjust the projection. I didn't adjust the projection to include that increase at this point.
An extra 0.7%.
Yeah,
Thank you.
but I will look at that going forward.
John, you said that you felt like cash flow should be positive for September. How do you see the months after that when they're not tax collection months?
Well, you'll have months, obviously, that will not be, I think, October, November will not be positive cash flow months. So when you look at, for example, the school at, 8.3 million, you divide that by 10, you'd be looking at somewhere in the 800 to $1 million per month. So we've got to kind of monitor that. We have a little bit of a surplus over there, so I think that's been helping with the cash flow because we don't keep the cash stays over in the town side. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, we did approve the ability to borrow 300,000 at the financial town meeting. I think maybe to be on the safe side, we might want to put that in place, have that just in case that we have to make a payroll. Payroll would probably run somewhere around 400,000 or so every 2 weeks. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Old business. If there are no objections, I'd like to move old business 1 down and move up 2, 3, and 4. Any objection? Thank you. Start with old business 2. Update and consideration of agreement with Rossi Law concerning delinquent tax collections. I wanted to do this while the finance director is here before he jumps out of his seat and leaves. So here we go.
Well, our finance director is familiar with the Rossi Law Firm. This is the firm that collects for most, if not all, of the municipalities that have these arrangements. What you have before you is a contingent fee agreement. Rossi Law will undertake the collection services for the town for personal property taxes. And their initial stage is sending out of the letters and seeing how many of these claims can be settled prior to going to court. And the contingent fee agreement for what they collect is 25%. Expenses and expenses typically are the filing of the court fees are also would be charged off. A case will not be sent to court unless the town consents. And that would be not something that would be handled at the council level, but would be handled at the finance director level as to whether or not it should go to the next step. Now, there's some considerations for that. I'm sure that if there are questions, I'd hear about them. But one thing that the firm will do is make an assessment as to whether or not a tax can be collected. And that's part of the expertise that they give on this. So they will say some of your accounts can't be collected. They'll ask that they be abated because they just can't be. If letters are sent out and they ascertain that a lawsuit will not be successful in collecting, they will tell you that. If they do think it can be collected, then it will proceed from there. If you have any questions on the agreement that you have before you, I'd be happy to answer them. This is not quite standard. I asked for some other provisions in there that are in, and it relates to the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. I wanted to make it clear that they are a debt collector. And under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, there are protections in for the creditor, which you are on this, as opposed to the debt collector himself. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have a couple. Speaking of standard, is the 25% fee a standard fee that municipalities typically spend on this sort of collection?
Yes, in this state.
Okay. And then secondly, the agenda item just reads concerning delinquent tax collections, but for clarification, that is just the tangible property tax. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? Finance Director?
No, so once this is signed, we can provide them with the information that they require. I'm assuming they'd want something.
Yes, what they told me is once this is signed and sent to them, they will ask you to forward the accounts that require their attention. They'll start working with you on the collection thereof. I should add that the town did engage the services of Rossi law offices some years ago, and then over COVID, things stopped. I did think it was appropriate to update the agreement, and that's what you have before you.
And can this agreement be something that continues so that we have this on an annual basis as opposed to letting big chunks of time go by and having to renew it?
If you take a look at the agreement on this, it's on a go forward. You can terminate so long as you give them 90 days notice. So they'll just keep going as long as you give them accounts. As I said, and I asked about that, many communities in the state stopped collection practices during COVID time. And I think that's what happened here in this community. But you can go forward on and on that. And if you think you can get a better deal somewhere else, or you don't like what they're doing, you can terminate the contract anytime with 90 days notice.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to allow the town council president to sign this.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Business 3. Clarification of town policies on docks, wharves, and piers. Make a motion to,
Matt, are you sure you want to go to old business 3? You missed one. Are you waiting for that?
I've already asked the council to
2, 3, and
move it to 2, 3, and 4.
2, 3, and 4 were, I didn't hear 2, 3, and 4. You were mumbling. Don't go so close to the microphone.
So mumble.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Old business 3, clarification of town policies on docks, wharves, and piers. I'll make a motion to refer this back to the Harbor Commission.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Old business 4, request from the Greenwoods for the council to consider an extension for mobile food establishment Greenwood Chicken, use of McCrae's MFE unit and authorization for events beyond October 1st deadline previously voted. I will make a motion to extend the permission for Greenwood Chicken to use the McCrae's MFE for a limited time through October 31st.
Second.
Any other discussion? Seeing any, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Back up to 1, Carol.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Receive recommendation on bids received responding to the invitation to bid the Taylor's Lane Green Stormwater Infrastructure Retrofits Project. Discuss and consider award contract for project. Taylor's Lane Green Stormwater Infrastructure Retrofit Project. Town Council would like to thank the community members who communicated their thoughts how the proposed Taylor's Lane Stormwater Project could be simplified to better accommodate stormwater drainage without substantially changing the parking area and while maintaining the boat launch access that has historically been available at this site. With respect to community input, project manager and designer were instructed to make said modifications to the extent possible without jeopardizing key stormwater management requirements associated with the grant funding. With that, I will turn it over to Kim and Kevin, their presentation and their recommendation to the council.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to echo, we very much appreciated all of the input, and we wrote everything down from last time, and we went through and we have modified the design, and Kevin's going to go over and walk you through it in a minute, but we have substantially modified the design to take into account all the different components. It's simplified to basically take out anything that's other than the stormwater components that are required by the grant agreement. At this point, it really is at its most simple, and Kevin's going to walk you through this we made and why we and that we were able to make them. And while he's going over there, I will say, you know, we were very excited when we modified it because we feel like have a meeting to make sure this still would still qualify for the grant money. So I was a little anxious going into that because this is really pared down and simplified. But fortunately, the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank and both the president and vice president were at the meeting. To work with, we walked them through community concerns and why we made the modifications, and that we were able to still, we made the argument that we were still able to meet the intent of the grant funding and the stormwater elements. And so they have given us the go ahead with the simplified design. So I'm very excited, and Kevin will walk you through that. So I think we're all good. All right.
Thank you, Kim. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for coming out again, and thank you for your time last week to give comments, history on the project. Just it was very, very, very helpful for us to be able to have that input, and it kind of fitted into what we are now going to be proposing here as the slimmed down infrastructure, stormwater infrastructure focused line. And so what you're looking at here, the top image is the new plan that we talked about. The bottom here was what was presented last week. The majority of the comments were to try to keep this as natural as possible, but also very much focused on maintaining the access that's currently existing to the beach. We understand that it's being used, that historically has been used, the boat launching. So we want to ensure that we maintain that. And part of that, as we discussed last week, we need to make some modifications to change the design somewhat of the bow retention basin. So just a quick recap. The whole idea of this is to take the existing drainage swales that are along Taylor's Lane currently clean them out, retrofit what's called a bioretention swale. That's basically very similar to what you have right now, the planted swale, but we'd be digging out of the existing silted up material that's in there, replacing it with a bioretention medium in organic contact that when planted with plants that can handle the habitat that swale will be, help clean the water before it's outletted toward the Second River. So the swales would be maintained. We would also provide what's called check dams, basically just little piles of some riprap, small holes to help slow the water that goes down the swale. But the swales themselves, and those of you who are going to see a lot of familiar faces, we had shown some pictures of what those would be. It's basically exactly what you're looking at right now, just removing the invasive, major thing. With a lot of grass and other herbs and the forests and things like that. We also were looking to expand where the swale kind of ends and sort of fall apart over here right now. So if you're translating north to the top of your screen, translating south over here. This area, the swale kind of falls apart right now. So whatever overflows from that sort of gets into the gravel and just goes out toward the we want to enlarge that area. So we're removing some invasive plants and then replanting with native plants. And basically creating the same idea, just a little bit bigger. And then similarly, at the far end of all of these swales, where everything goes, whatever doesn't get into the soil before it gets down here. So very large storms, very rapid storms, 2-3 inches kind of a storm or an inch or so an hour. There's an overflow, which is essentially the same thing, which is a bioretention basement. And all that is, again, is the same as what you're looking at as those swales that are along the side of the road, just a little bit bigger in area. About 8 to 10 inches deep at its deepest point, and then protected around the outside with a berm of plantings. So it's only about 12 to 18 inches high, but just enough to keep the water in there. So when the water comes down, it doesn't just go immediately out towards the beach or the river. So that all maintained as part of the project. What was taken out was we had the ADA parking area, if you may recall, which is a permeable paver surfacing. We've eliminated that. We also had an ADA access walkway and an overlook that went down towards the beach. That has been removed as well. There's a little bend associated with that. We also had some bollards and things that were in here to keep cars from through here. But the meeting that we had last week, certainly understand that access for larger boat trailers and things of that nature is very important. So we eliminated all of that. We also reworked the basin here, had to do some funky math to get the numbers to work, but we got the numbers to work within reason that it'll still have essentially the same amount of capacity of the before. We shrunk the berm down, but by doing that, we had to make it a little bit steeper. So again, it's all going to be within 18 inches of up and down. So when the vegetation is growing in there, some would be inconceivable from actually anything. But what we did was we took the lower edge of that berm, and I think I mentioned this last week, so we probably have to do it, turns out we will, and use what's called core logs. These are these long, about 15 inches in diameter, like a big long sausage that's coconut fiber. It's plantable, so plant the medium in there. So basically what it does is it allows to protect that berm of the bioretention basin while the plant's established. So when the plant's established, we go right through the medium, right into the soil that's been heated. So these will biodegrade within 2 to 3 years, but the vegetation will stay behind. It allows us to help protect this while everything's getting established. So we know that there are storm events that come in. We want to be able to protect that side of the berm. So that's stayed in there. The other thing was there was a concern with what we were proposing for the parking area itself. In the old design here, we were very literally saying, come in here and park this way. But we understand that the unorganized fashion of the parking is kind of what gives the charm to the place. So that the parking as it is right now is maintained. You can see this dashed line here. That's give or take the existing edge of gravel. We're actually cutting it in a little bit, making it a little easier so you can get in here and turn around. And we're taking a little bit from this side. So we're basically just sort of squaring up this area so that it's a little bit easier to circulate through here. It's essentially right where it is right now. The big difference is that we're taking out the gravel that's in there, which is impervious. So it's just kind of gravel, rocks, things like that. Everybody knows that you leave out here, the road's out pretty good. And we're replacing that with a crushed stone parking, just a crushed stone parking area. It's deep though. So it's about 14, 16 inches deep stone, all different sizes of stone. But what you'll see at the top is what you'll see on most people's stone driveways, a 3/4 inch water aggregate. That will be here. That allows the water to be able to into the park. The idea is to get all the water in, down through the parking area into the flood before it gets to this. In order to make that function without having the access that we had before, what we have is a little bit of a sloped curbing along this edge, so that when the water comes down, we want to catch it before it goes out to the beach. So it'll come up, hit that curving area, but it allows access over it, because it's a little slope curve, but also at the boat act, we're maintaining 12 to 14 foot wide access in this design. So at that access there, we're going to have that essentially flush, but you'll see there's a little bit of an apron here. What we want to do is just provide a couple of the permeable pavers that will allow like a little bit of a berm, so we can have you can picture like a speed bump going through there. That'll help keep the water from going right down the boat out of the access, because if you leave that wide open, the water that does get through there, it's just going to channel. So we want to stop that and we want to spread that out so that it flows easier. So there's a little bit of a hump to it. It just goes up about 6 inches and then right back down. It'll be flush to the edge of the parking area, or stone parking area. The far western end of it, we are proposing, because of we want to protect parking area as best as possible. Reinforcement grid. We're not using the plastic we talked about. There's a concrete product that's basically like big old paper. You can kind of picture it, but they have like a weave through them, so that they're open cell. And they just go right next to each other, but maybe underground. So what you see is crushed stone right across the entire parking area, but this far end, about 20 would have that underneath it, so that in larger events, if there is washover that comes out, we're protecting the surface that we have and keeping it in place. Similarly, at the interface where the existing pavement ends, we have a small similar little apron right here. That permeable pavement as well. The rationale for that is that wherever that edge of pavement is, where it turns into crushed stone, is going to fall apart unless you protect it. And so we have a small apron there of pavers that will be set against it, so it will protect that edge of pavement, so that when you're driving back and forth over it, it doesn't just break that edge up constantly. It also acts as a way to help clean your wheels. So when you're in here, if you get a little stone stuck in your wheels or something, we try to keep it in the parking area to the best of our ability, rather than all the way up towards the
Thank you.
So Laura, sim down, focus just on the green stormwater infrastructure components, and the components that really do require for it to be able to meet the needs of the grant. But I think that it does do the balancing act of giving the stormwater improvements, the protection of this area, maintaining the access down, and also maintaining as natural as possible.
You're not putting anything
there.
We're gonna have public comment just in a minute. Yep, no problem. We're gonna have public comment just in a minute. Kevin, we'll have it. Are you done?
I'm done, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you want to go next?
I just wanted to say thank you, Kevin. And so as we indicated, there's two components here based on our conversations last week. We have to meet the technical intent of the project, which is stormwater management, and both stormwater management and providing ability to protect that. And the second component is all of the great input you folks gave us. So we really feel that this is the most scaled down we could have. And as I say, we're very excited that we were able to take out all the elements you folks had asked us to, and make sure there was a 12-foot plus access area to the beach. And we were able to work with Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank to allow the project to move forward under this new, really excited at this point. Do you want me to talk about bids or no?
Yeah, yes.
So the town council received bids for the project recently proposed from 5 firms, and those are posted up at the town website. And when we looked at reviewing bids, we looked at them, you know, in terms of we had an advertised competitive procurement project qualification-based selection process. So in our construction documents, we told them we were going to be selecting based on several factors, not only price, but price was one of them. Both their lump sum base bid, alternate price, and unit pricing. Years in business, insurance coverages, history of completing similar projects in time, and workmanship quality, references, and these are the things that we did look at. And we, based on those, and one thing I should say, because you're thinking, well, that was on the original bid, but when we develop the construction documents, it's always good practice to include in them, you know, even if it's a lump sum project as this was, to include unit pricing and the stipulation that the town can modify the project as deemed appropriate. So we have the ability to take these unit prices and modify, subtract out, add on, and to recreate, and then we would have to negotiate with the recommended bids on the new price, which will obviously be less than the price that they usually provided. But it's our recommendation to the town council to give the contract to DuPont Landscaping Services. They happen to be the low bid, but beyond that, they met all of the other checks, and their references were fabulous. We called all of their references, and they had great references. So that is our recommendation to the town council.
Thank you. So the council is going to discuss, ask questions to our professionals. I will alert the council that we have two motions potentially to make. One would be a motion to accept the modified design changes, and two, a motion to award the contract. So we'll be doing those. The council will talk, and then we'll have the audience can come up and speak. Anyone on the council who would like to say anything? Okay, doesn't seem it.
I will.
Go ahead.
No, just I wanted to say thank you to Kevin and Kim for acting so quickly. We were here a week ago till pretty late, and I know for a fact that you both were right back at it Friday morning and right through from then until this evening. So I know that it's been a sprint, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the responsiveness to the community input. And Kevin, I think the plan looks really great, and yeah, thank you for your good work.
So I will hold off on the two motions and open up for public comment. Miss, I'm sorry you didn't get to ask your question. Go right to the podium.
Yes, hi. I'm Ellen O'Neill, and I live on Hillers Lane South, about 7 properties down the way. And I appreciate all the work you've done. I'm not quite sure why, because I can't imagine that what you're spending all this money to do is going to work. I mean, the storm we had 2.5, 3 weeks ago, where we had 75 to 100 servers in front of our house, the waves were breaking at 8 to 12 feet. That berm you're building is going to be this high, will be gone in about 5 minutes. I don't know why you're spending all this money to do something that has worked very well for everybody living there all these years. The rain comes up, the waves come up, and then the waves go back. It's all going to be washed out in the first storm, major storm we get. I mean, we had waves 12 feet high breaking on our property, which is about 8.5, 10 feet up from the water. We have seaweed, and I mean, if you really want to work on something, I would go to the town beach and fix that. Have any of you seen that since that storm? There are nothing but football and basketball sized rocks where people used to park. There's no place for anybody to do anything. That is what needs some work. The end of our street, Taylor's Lane, and I just don't get it. I'm really sorry. Like I said, it's a huge waste of money.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else?
Hey, you want to address that, Ken?
Sure. There's a couple of things to address. One, in terms of spending money on this project. The project was identified in 2022 for this grant. And the money has been allocated for this particular project. And if it is not used for this project, it will go back to EPA. So it cannot be, it cannot be used for town fees. It does not have the ability to be transferred. So, but it is not a waste because right now, you have to look at this thing over the next X number of years. And you're saying, yes, if a storm comes, absolutely. Anytime a storm comes, it's going to do, it's just like, it's going to do damage to some aspects, but there's maintenance that has to be continually done or done after big storms. But heavy storms, but not to that degree, are going to come down. They're going to be able to, the water is going to be able to be filtered better. And you have to look at these projects as every step you take makes a difference. So the project here is one small step. I get that, but it does make a difference. And you go to Town Beach and do some work there. If you go to South Shore Beach and do some work there, it makes a difference. It's just like saying at your house, well, there's no point to, my paint's peeling, but there's no point to scrape it off to the corner and paint because you definitely do something the same. That's not the case. You protect the wood underneath by doing that, by providing, by providing primer and paint, you're protecting that. And that's what we're doing here. If we leave all of that gravel as it is in that parking area, it washes down into the beach because it's a non-impervious surface. Gravel gets compacted and it does not allow the water to permeate. So it just washes down and it takes with it all of the contaminants, and that goes into the Secana River, which is parts of the Secana River and the bay are impaired waterways. And this contributes to that. Now, are there other areas that projects should be done? Absolutely, all across the state. And there may be ones more deserving. But the reality is this project has the funding. So you either do the project or you don't, but the funding cannot be transferred to any other project.
Thank you. I'm gonna take the young lady in the back, then the young man in the front. Young lady in the back, then no problem.
Thank you for bringing to me. It's young. Me and Whitmarsh, I have lived on Taylor's Lane for a long time. But I do hear what you're saying. However, I feel like you heard us, and I feel like what you've done is really answers all the questions. And I hope that the rest of the group that I've been working with feels the same way. I feel like the things that were most offensive were the walkways and the bollards and the parking signs and all that. And you did this really quickly. And I think, Ellen, the other piece to this is that what Kim was saying in the last meeting was that if we don't accept this grant, if we just make it go away, then we reduce our chances of getting other grants in the future for some of the projects that you're talking about that we could use. And so I just want to say thank you for doing it so quickly, and I think it was good.
Thank you. If I may comment, I actually got a call from their state resilience coordinators now, and I actually had a call from the state resilience coordinator, and he was calling not just this municipality or others, but he was calling all the different people who are involved with these kind of projects and saying to them, and he said to me yesterday on the call, Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank is wanting to make sure communities understand that there's several grants coming out right now, Community Assistance Grant and MRP Action Grant will be out in a few weeks. And he said they want to make sure you understand that communities who have not used past grants effectively will not be looked at favorably in future grants. And those were his words, and he said, Kim, I'm not saying it for the community, we're passing that on to all communities because the funding is tight.
We have someone at the podium.
Sal Marosi again.
Two.
I have one technical question. The structures you're putting underneath the gravel, underneath the stone, are they void or are they filled? Are they gables? What are they?
I'm sorry, what was that last one you said?
Are they gables? Are they
They're like,
voided structures or?
yeah, they're like 3 inches thick. They're about 24 by 24-ish in size. And then it's like a honeycomb.
So,
So it's open.
they're just a thick voided thing that accepts the stone.
That's right. So
They're not chambers.
no, they're not. No. So there's a bunch of stone that's underneath. So it goes from like 1.5 inch to 2 inch stone down to 3/4, down to 3/8 for a setting bed. These get placed on that setting bed and then it gets backfilled and filled all around with 3/4 inch stone and then covered with 3/4 inch stone.
The other thing is that you talk to a contractor or me, and he's bid the project. And well, we're talking about one particular one that you said had, that was the bidder you were selecting. Have you considered that the change that he's going to be looking at is a really constructive change? And that's a bad thing in the contract.
But because Kevin is so good at what he does, and I say that sincerely, we structure the contract with unit prices in it, so we could back things out, change things. So we have already taken the time to go through and look at, based on this new design, and modifying the unit prices to see about where we're going to be at for the new.
Because usually unit prices on a constructive change don't work.
Yeah.
In other words, the guy can't make enough money to do the job.
Yeah, when we wrote, so I've done this with several communities as well, and I think it's, clarity is obviously the best thing here, but in the actual instructions to bidders and the plan and the specifications, and this was actually even outlined when we had pre-bid meetings and things of that nature, it allows the town to not only change pricing during construction using the way that we have our unit pricing set up, and we also had an alternate for removing of some of the larger items. So we just kind of pulled out.
He's bidding on the top, he's bidding on the new project.
Everybody only had bid on the bottom project. Our contract, our bid specs are set up such that the town has the right to utilize the unit prices to change the contract before contract signing or during during construction. So the task at hand is to take the recommended contractor that we have now, and we got to go, we've run the numbers already. We know where they should be coming in. Go back to them, and now we need to negotiate with that contractor. So if for some reason the negotiation is not successful, we have 4 other bids that we can go to those contractors and negotiate with them.
All right, the third question I have is that they did the bottom of next to my street, and what was on the drawing was not what was completed.
Yes.
Let me finish. And so I want to know what kind of supervision you provide throughout the contract period.
Okay, that's a great question. And on this project,
I know it is.
and I'll tell you why on this project, you won't have that, because Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank won't pay us. Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank has a third party who comes and does a site inspection. They will take the plan at the top that we've submitted to them today. They will bring that with them, and they will go through and do a site inspection. If at their site inspection, it does not meet that, they will give you an opportunity to modify it accordingly. If you don't, your consultant, Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank technical consultant, will say it's not in compliance and they will not pay for this. So in other words, that forces you to get in compliance and do what you said.
You're the design engineer. Do you provide?
Yes.
He will also
You
be.
babysit.
Yes. I don't like to use the word babysit, but yes, I go out there and I take pictures, I drop the hammer, but yeah. Yes.
Before.
Yeah.
That's somebody that was not knowledgeable on the project, so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I see a hand. Yep, go right ahead.
Eddie's name is Taylor's Lane. I have two questions. First is, my understanding is that when this first plan went out, it required a zoning variance from the abutter of Taylor's Lane North. Does the second plan require that variance also?
Thank you. No, it does not, because it was a backup variance from 24 feet to 22 feet. But now the parking has been restructured, so there is not a backup component, so it does not require a variance.
My second question is about the bids that were posted on the website yesterday. It has the second column, the bids received and you are the project manager. This is the total base bid, but the third column says alternate. What is that third column?
This is again, I'm going to let Kevin, because this is again where Kevin's brilliance came in. He somehow anticipated there might be concern with that modifier.
No, the alternate is another trigger that we have within the bid specs themselves. And so it's essentially, so we have the lump sum, which is everything included. And then we identified a couple of components of this, which we thought, if funding doesn't allow, are easily pulled out. And so we have what we call a deduct alternate. And that deduct alternate was actually a large chunk of that pedestrian access and the bench and all of that. That was component of that. So that we were able to take out. So if you look at that base bid, that alternate, you can take that right out of what the base bid was. It's a deduct.
The numbers, the adjusted price, but.
No, thank you. I have a hand in the back. I can't see a face. I do see a face now.
Yes. I'm from Taylor's Lane. And I would like to echo Mimi's thoughts and say thank you, because that certainly was quite a meeting we had last Thursday. You all and very responsive. The word maintenance has come up a couple of times, and I'm wondering what you think ongoing maintenance costs might be. And does the grant provide for ongoing maintenance? And what do you think? I think the comment about a storm coming in, right now when a storm comes in, there's the parking area gets a little rubbly, but nobody would do anything about it. What's going to happen when this bioretention pond or gets overrun with stuff? I mean, are we really going to have to do something? It's like a mess.
It's going to have to be maintained, like any other stormwater control. So right now, the swales are inside of the road are your stormwater control. And they haven't been scooped out. The siltation hasn't been taken out, hasn't been maintained. And so, and also the invasive weeds that have come into them have choked them out even further. So part of this project is starting from scratch, but we have an operations and maintenance plan that's in effect. That's actually part of our CRMC permit as well. So these swales will need to be mowed once annually. That'll help keep all the woody invasives down. And whenever siltation comes up to, it's outlined, I think it's 2 or 3 inches, it needs to be excavated out and then reseeded and treated with the bioretention mix. So ongoing maintenance makes the repairs of it much less, as you can imagine, like with anything. But that is a component of this. So for the stormwater controls to work properly, just like a catch basin in the road, they need to be vacuumed out and cleaned out, and they should be done more often than they are. So what we're trying to do is something that is more easily maintained than what's called a hard structured stormwater project.
So the town has factored that ongoing maintenance.
That maintenance should be going on anyway. It doesn't necessarily look like from out there that it has, and because of the growth of woodies and invasives. But as part of the CRMC permit, it is structured that there should be a commitment by the town to once a year go out there and mow those areas, which isn't a big ask. If they, after X number of years, or if we do have a particularly aggressive storm, particularly storm surge at the end, then the town, should, just like on all of their stormwater components, evaluate that, after the storm when they have time. You have a very small department here, I know that, but that is something that you should be doing and they should take into consideration. And that's a good practice to be in.
I got one question.
Sure, go ahead, Jerry.
So if since this is a scaled down project now,
Microphone.
since this is a scaled down project now, if there's extra funding left over, can it be put into a town fund for maintenance in the future? Or it goes back to the infrastructure bank?
It actually goes back to the EPA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else? Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
Of the waves and storms, hurricanes will come, and there's nothing that's going to stop this. So when that is disrupted, and that does happen, the town is going to be responsible for repairs and put back into what it already was earlier. And so we're going to be holding the bag for the expenses to do this or to keep it so that it doesn't do it with. I guess really, I'm really still on the belief that nothing is free. And this makes it free initially. But the maintenance and the care is going to be the expense of the town. Is that clear?
It's correct with any of your town roads. The stormwater drainage system on any town road within the right of way is the responsibility of the town. Any town road.
Not the town road. I mean, the road is a town road. What you're putting in is not the town road.
Within the town road, any town road right of way. So the town road right of way, the part of the property beyond the road that's owned by the town on any town road, where there's stormwater management, and on most roads you have stormwater management, whether they're swales or so forth. That is always the responsibility of the town under the DPW department. So all roads are subject to that, not just this Taylor's Lane.
May I add something on this? Grant work will not place any other obligations on the town for maintenance that it wouldn't already have in the first place. In other words, this grant doesn't have requirements for maintenance going forward, special to the end of Taylor's Lane.
So this could go up to the river in a storm and then be the end of the road.
Big one hits, this goes out, what you have there goes out too. There's no requirements for there to make changes.
Sure, in the front, in the blue. Waving paper.
Larry?
On the question of cost and maintenance, the future costs. Doing nothing or not addressing some of these issues is not going to save us money.
Yes.
But the reality is all these public access places, dealt with some of them, they all have issues. Town Landing, South Shore, Town Way, Northern Water. Project. We've seen damage to many of these places fairly recently. We know the storms are going to come. The word we use words like resilience, sustainability, and other things. These are somewhat hopeful, but They're the reality that we had to deal with. So a project like this, we hope, with the help of money from elsewhere, will literally, we hope, buy us time. That's what we're doing. We're buying time because we know, so sure that this is documented. It's not theoretical. Aerial photographs since 1939 taken on regular aerials at South Shore of the Wind show that the beach has receded between 40 and 100 feet in less than 100 years. That's the reality we're facing. What do we do with South Shore? We just try to push the parking lot back into the ocean. You don't think that's costing us money? And so we want to have these public spaces. We get anxious when we're taking money from elsewhere because other people might come in. We're going to be responsible. We have a chance here with some design. The storm that comes might not do as much damage. There'll be less drainage down the road and some design that might mitigate the damage. Otherwise, we'll have more erosion that will come faster and more frequently, and it'll be on our nickel. We can just sort of push more gravel into the sea, but the sea's coming our way. So we are buying time. That's the reality.
Thank you. Sir, go ahead.
The design, I'm looking at Kevin. The design is quite specific to take care of the water that comes down the street. It does nothing and no interest what happens which comes from the water. Right? Okay.
That's correct.
Exactly right.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
That's, other than we do have,
Showed storms. It's always interested on that 1.6 miles of some droppings of oil or whatever that come down. I think it's very important what we're buying here. We're only buying that aspect of it.
It's a stormwater management project, retrofit project. So it is focused on precipitation events as opposed to hurricane storm surge, which carries wave action up and over. So you're right. The focus of this.
Absolutely nothing with hurricanes. So there's no protection for that. There was a gentleman here last week who pointed out that just north of it, there's a wonderful creek that probably puts in 100 to 200,000 gallons of water in a moderate storm, maybe more.
Right, but depending on how the water is draining into that, I have not done a hydraulic assessment.
Can we just let her finish, please?
So I know where you're saying, but I haven't done a hydraulic study to look at water flow to that point and what is available naturally to allow the water that's entering into that stream to, to filter and be filtered prior to getting to this kind of river. So, but it's really separate things. This is stormwater management associated with this road. And what can we do with respect to that?
Thank you.
It's only with this road, nothing to do with the creek.
Right.
Thank you. Anyone else? Sure, go ahead.
I am Nicole Carter and I live on Taylor's South. I'm sorry. I'm Nicole Carter and I live on Taylor's Lane South. I believe that everyone heard the concerns of the citizens last week, and I do appreciate the council calling that meeting because it allowed us to be heard. The part that kind of bothers me, I suppose, and I think many others, is that even though this project started years ago, we didn't really know about it, and it happened because it fell through the cracks, and then all of a sudden it got twisted. And it brought our attention to ourselves that, something could happen. This project could have happened very easily. We couldn't have done anything about it. It would have been too late. So you can clearly hear by everyone's feedback. It was very objectionable. So moving forward, I'm hoping that somehow we can become a little bit better informed. And I do appreciate your mindful changes to the project. You were listening to us, and I know it took a lot of effort to make it happen quickly. I do have a couple of quick questions about the project itself, but I just wanted to ask if you had an elevation drawing that we could see, because last time I was thinking, here we are looking at this bird's eye view, and I would love to be able to see what it looks like this way, because that's what everyone's concerned. You don't hover looking down. We want to look out and see what it looks like. Do you have an elevation drawing? Because I feel like it's kind of standard practice.
No, we did not prepare any elevation view drawings. We did have example images last week to be able to show you what that looked like from the ground, but we haven't done any graphic renderings of what it would look like.
And just part of that is because, again, this is stormwater management, so we do have the contours on there. And I realize for people who aren't familiar with reading contours, like when I look at that, I fully understand what's happening with the flow. But people who don't understand contours, but the contours actually, for me, when I see contours, I can picture it visually as a 3D.
I comprehend that.
Right. So, but others.
But it also helps.
Right.
When you're a visual person, it helps to be able to see.
Right, but because it's a stormwater management, the effect is that it's going down gradient. So you're not generally in this kind of project, you wouldn't have the expense of having a designer do that kind of rendering.
I'm also wondering why the project seems so relatively short, the storm water management. Why didn't it start at the top of the road? Because that is where the water is coming from. As it could have been diverted along the way. Effectively,
I'm a huge proponent of catching water up gradient, as far up gradient as possible to mitigate what you end up at the low area.
Impact on the earth.
Exactly, but again, we came into this project as an approved grant program, approved grant project, and that was the limitation of the project. So we were given that this western end from basically where you see from Taylor's Lane South downward was our project limitations. So we didn't have the flexibility to move up gradient. I would love to design something up gradient. But we can work on this, take care of this, get this functioning better. And if at that point you see things functioning better, it would give you opportunities to consider things upgrading.
I just feel common sense. If you were taking care of it a little bit down, you would really be having the impact at the bottom that everyone is so concerned about. I am also concerned, questioning, did anyone really look at that stream that is just north, mere feet north of Taylor's Lane Beach? Because I walk the beach all the time, and there are many times you can't even pass over that when it rains, and you're talking about water coming from West Main Road. It's a tremendous amount of water in comparison to the pretty much trickles that are coming down Taylor's Lane Road.
Right. The infrastructure bank does this type of stormwater mitigation projects on roadways, town-owned roadways. So that's where our limitation is. There's other potential funding out there sometimes that does projects with, creeks or streams and how to improve the health of the corridor, that type of thing. But this funding does not allow for that.
I appreciate your efforts, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Actually, I had one question about this right here and this right here and the riprap. Sorry, I can speak loudly enough. That I see on many corners of our roads more recently is so rough and rough. It's granite. It's rough, huge chunks of granite that are gray and unattractive, to say the least. I'm just wondering if that's what with the up the road.
Yes, so we're calling out what's called as R4, like riprap, so it's like, like this size. But the idea, and again, in the images that we provided last week, I was hoping I was be able to show it, but when the swales grow in with the vegetation that we have going in there, which is going to grow to 3 feet anyway in height, that will grow in around that riprap and make it so that's, visually obscure that riprap from the roadway.
Not necessarily here.
That's all going to be planted too. So the whole thing is going to be planted in that same way.
Planted on this side.
that basin is gonna be planted the same as the swales. So when you're standing,
I see green, that looks like it's planted, but when I see this white and or gray area in front of this riprap.
that's the crushed stone.
This is this is crushed stone.
Yep.
It's gonna go right into the big riprap.
There's that little bit of a curve that I mentioned. So that corner there, you're gonna have I think it's like 5 feet going up north and then another 5 or 6 feet going that way. It's concrete,
Concrete, okay, and this right here is,
permeable pavers. Like a little driveway apron.
and pavers, man-made looking pavers. Here and.
They're like 4x8 bricks.
Oh,
Concrete 4x8 bricks, correct.
thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. I'm gonna make a motion to accept the modified design changes. So I have a second.
Second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I'm gonna make another motion to award the contract based on this section criteria. The project manager, design consultant recommends the contract be awarded to Dave Ponce Landscaping Services. Per the construction documents, the town has the right to negotiate the contract price based on design modifications. If the town is unable to effectively negotiate a contract based on modified design with Dave Ponce Landscaping Services, the town reserves the right to negotiate with other bidders in the order of ranking based on their selection process. Do I have a second?
That was your motion.
That was my motion.
I second that.
Further discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. I'll recess for 5 minutes to let our two professionals who are outstanding get out of here. Get out of here.
Do you have that you would just,
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
nice? Have long bolts like that would be nice to give it to me.
I'll give it to
You could rip it off the bottom. On the bottom of your page.
Go.
You doing? Good.
Seven.
Did anybody ever say anything to you?
Only has to start.
No.
I'm not talking.
Did they respond?
Nobody responded to me.
Has Carol hey Carol, have you gotten any sort of communication from Discover Newport?
Have I what? Sorry,
Gotten any communication from Discover Newport?
she called me. She called me. Right now, we're gonna leave it at status quo. Our representative is Molly and we'll see how she works out.
Okay, I think her term's only until,
It's 7 years, she told me. We don't think they're going by what yours, because yours was all messed up between how the law had it set up before, and then they made changes, and then you were allowed to do so much more of a second term, and so now they're just starting off
from.
Scratch.
All right.
How was that?
All right.
7-year appointment.
Well, it'll be fine.
Hey, we'll see.
Yeah.
I said to her, she might be the next best thing to cream cheese. You don't know until she gets there, so I'll have to wait and see.
Good.
I don't want to hear about it. Both playing again.
I'm keeping. Oh, I don't need this up anymore.
Okay, so this contract is for non-real estate taxes.
Go slow.
Okay, so it's asking for car taxes.
Go one. Or go.
We're not punished.
No.
Yeah, taxes 25%.
Yes.
Go say, yeah.
Then he said, well, if we sold those,
Down where she did.
make more money. I don't know.
I want to sell that.
No.
I thought
Very few people.
Yeah, with real estate taxes. Great, thank you.
I don't know that answer.
Angel. I told Jeff Hirsch.
Was he their attorney?
That is, he's up to Japan.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the chairman of Providence. He was.
All right, we're back.
Well, they're accepting it.
I do like that. Getting them up regular.
Say what?
New business, consideration and request for positions with the fire department.
Motion to give conditional employment to Jacob Ramils to the,
Wait, hang on. Excuse me, I can't.
motion to offer conditional employment to Jacob Ramils to the Little Compton Fire Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll do the next one, Gary.
A motion to promote firefighter Jason De Silva to lieutenant in the Little Compton Fire
Have
Department.
a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 2, request from the Recreation Committee for authorization to repair the cracks in the tennis court for no more than $4,000 to be paid out of the recreation funds. I'll make the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Receive letters of interest for an upcoming vacancy on the Little Compton Free Public Library for a term of 3 years. Carol, how many do we have? Applicants do we have?
I have one.
Have one?
I have one.
One in a letter of support, correct?
And a letter of support.
I'll make a motion to appoint Mark Anderson to the vacancy on the Little Compton Free Public Library for the term of 3 years.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. 4, receive letters of interest for the upcoming vacancy on unexpired term on the pension committee. Do we have any applicants or are we just asking for letters here?
No, I have one.
You have one.
I've had it posted.
Had it posted.
I have one that just came in. It's from Allison McNaughton.
Allison McNaughton. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion for Allison McNaughton to fill the upcoming vacancy for the unexpired term on the pension committee.
And I will second it and thank Roger Lord, who was sitting in front of us behind the camera or in front of the camera, however you want to look at it, for his 20 years of service or 21 years of service on the pension committee, and many other things that he's done throughout the years. I've been fortunate to work with you, and thank you very much. Maybe since you spent 21 years with him.
You said it very well. He has been an outstanding addition, and I look forward to working with Allison. I believe good replacement as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger.
I may have missed it, but did you say all in favor?
I did. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Request from the Little Compton Housing Trust for the council to receive per Article 7 of the Little Compton Housing Trust existing bylaws and consideration for acceptance and amendment to the Little Compton Housing Trust bylaws regarding purchasing procedures. Do I have a motion?
Has the solicitor looked at this?
I have, yes.
And it's,
It complies with the charter and your ordinances. These are basically, to me, technical changes
okay.
to the bylaws.
Want to approve it, Andrew?
Patrick's now.
I'm happy to make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
6, planning board submittal of a draft for short-term rentals. Consider setting a public hearing date for further discussion and review. Do I have a motion to set a public hearing for this item?
You have a proposed date?
I don't have a proposed date, but I will entertain a motion and we can talk about a date.
Can you help me understand this is a change to existing language or this is new language?
This is new language, if I may. Basically, what you have before you is what's known as a short-term rental registration ordinance.
Yes.
There
is no predecessor.
Yeah, no, you don't have a predecessor here, but other communities have enacted these type of regulations on this. This is something that complies with state law. I think the planning board did do a lot of work on this. And it's ready for a discussion by the public on this type of a regulation. I can tell you, though, that it's lawful.
Okay. And in its form, it is not ready to embed in the ordinances. In other words, it doesn't look like our ordinances right now. I'm just talking about the mechanics of making it.
Yeah, that'd be relatively soon to do. My understanding of this was the planning board wanted to get the language down and the regulations for short-term rentals so that it would be in a position for the public to comment on. After public comment, then what could happen is we'd fit it into where it'd be in the code, what the numbers would be and all of that, take whatever comments that the public has on this so that you can put it through the ordinance process.
That's what it appears to me to be. And based upon our dual success in this most recent subject of having the public be able to comment, this looks like a format that they can comment on and we can make changes that are.
That's correct, yes.
If they are to be made, they can be made before it's the final product.
Yes.
So who initiated this? Was it the planning board? Or was it somebody on the council that initiated this?
I think the council initiated it.
I don't.
Well, this was initiated years ago.
Many.
Right.
And referred back to the planning.
So I guess, was years ago, was it initiated by the council?
Yes.
So it was
Okay, so
2 or 3 years ago that this came in front of the council, maybe 3 years ago. There was a big brouhaha during COVID when everybody was coming into town and with some actors that weren't being civilized. I'll leave it at that, but so we had public hearings. The first one seemed to be people that were against it. And the second one, which had probably 3 times the people, felt that we didn't need a short-term, anything done with the short-term rentals. And so at that time, I don't recall asking anybody to come up with short-term rental amendments.
You did.
What, well, I don't recall that, okay. What I recall was we weren't going to do anything. We were going to allow the police to handle it. And one of the problems was noise and people staying up, having parties in these short-term rentals. And I don't see any of this in here. And then what really kind of knocked me back is this $500 a day fee. So I don't know where that came from, but if we look at general licensing, the general licensing penalties are for the first offense, a warning, second offense, 100, third offense, 200, fourth offense, 500. I don't know why it's not following that when that's general licensing, which I believe this is what we're trying to do is license these. And also, anybody with a short-term rental has to be licensed with the state. And I think our tax assessor said if you want to know who had short-term rentals in Little Compton, just to notify the state, or if anybody want to know about anything, do that. And I see a lot of ambiguous language. Oh, they should have a parking plan, they should have this, and they should have that. I see this as another onerous thing that you're putting on top of town residents when I don't think it's needed, because I talked to the police chief and I asked him how many complaints he's got from short-term rentals in the last 2 years. He said, maybe 3. So I don't know why we keep shoving ordinances down the town and controlling everybody like this is a kingdom. I just think we got, every time I turn around, the planning board's got another ordinance for the town of Little Compton to adhere to. So that's my 2 cents, and I'll talk more about it at the public hearing.
thank you for that. Anyone else? Council? So do I have a motion to go to a public hearing on short-term rentals?
Make that motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. And all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
And then do I have 4-1? Was that 4-1? 4-1.
Yes.
Thank you. New business 7. Request from Bonnie Finney to use Pikes Peak on October 18th for a nationwide No King's Day demonstration. The solicitor has done some work and looked at our policies. And you have something to report out to guide us on this one?
Yeah, you do. I don't think you can vote on this. Not to say that the event can't be held, but this isn't something that you can approve. I think.
I'm glad you said that, because that's what I think this is. there's no way to inhibit someone's freedom of assembly or freedom of speech. And so to even ask for this is, I'll stop and allow the. Go.
I'm wondering if I can hire you to be a.
So they should be sitting over there in the chair next to you.
Got more neckos over here. But you're correct, actually. There's no, and I confirmed this with Carol, under section 9-3 and section 5-16.8, there's nothing for Pikes Peak on this. And there's actually a Supreme Court case on this, Shuttlesworth versus the city of Birmingham. And that basically said what Mr. Mushin said on this. So whoever is doing this, well, you get to go out there, but it's not something that the council can tell you can do or tell you can't do.
I don't think the Sunday group ever came in front of the town council and asked to assemble there, and that's never been a problem.
Carol confirmed that.
Thank you. You're welcome. Communications. Application for a mobile food establishment license received from the Rolling Italian LLC ratified issuance. Do I have a motion? Unlike Italian food.
So
It already happened. This was an LC 350 thing where they allowed it to happen, but didn't confirm that they didn't have they have state license, but they didn't have a local one.
The ratification.
Ratify.
Second.
And all in favor? Thank you. Request from the Tyranny and Little Compton Prevention Coalition to use Veterans Field.
motion to approve.
Have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 3, abatement list from the tax assessor for authorization. 2.
Motion to approve the abatement list. I went over it. Everything's copacetic.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 4, application for mobile food establishment license free from Two Scoops LLC. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve that.
I will second the Two Scoops.
Just a question. How many MFVs do we have in town now?
Too many.
Well, that's what how many we're gonna have? I mean, and what they gonna start setting up?
Your license season will be ending. That's at some point, I will ask the council to review that ordinance. Because when you established it in the beginning, you set a limit of 5 and you have never once had a limit of 5. There is a clause that you're allowed to add on as you seem fit, but you've never stuck to 5. So some point in time, I'll have you look at that ordinance.
At a time when we have no restaurant.
Bingo.
It would be helpful to encourage mobile food establishments in any fashion that we can.
I agree with that statement, Bob, but still, how many we're gonna have and where they're gonna start setting up? I mean, are we gonna have 40 in this town and they're gonna be on every Taylor's Lane?
Not on Taylor's Lane, not on the end or the middle.
They need them even if they're doing an event
Yeah.
at someone's house.
Most of these that come to Little Compton are because they're coming to do an event.
Right.
If they were in, I won't even name cities, but a bigger city or town, they would be using it to be driving through the streets vending, but that's not what they do for Little Compton. It's not worth them.
They don't come unless it's worth their while, and
It's
is if
usually for a
if 200 people, then it's worth coming. Yes.
specific event related.
Or it's McRae's at South Shore Beach. Or
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
5, letter written to the police chief by Rhode Island State Traffic Commission offering the results of a state traffic study of the Commons. The STC approves a reconfiguration from a 2-way roadway segment to a 1-way configuration for Commons North and South, Commons East to remain 2-way. I don't think we need a motion for this.
No?
Don't.
No.
Place on a file.
Place it on file.
File.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Request for use of Veterans Field on October 26, 2025.
Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Electronic mail from Richard Kalinsky expressed concern with the edges of pavement of Town Way. Suggests re-engineering to make them safer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda?
Motion to place consent agenda on file unless anybody wants to pull anything for comment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Payment of bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
Pull out.
You'd like to pull out two bills.
What, just to discuss them?
Yeah, I want to make a note.
Discuss it.
Can we just discuss it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make the note, because I saw two large ones in here and I questioned it and learned something interesting that maybe other people might be interested to learn. So there are two large from my reading, payments that are listed as DPW government JAG funds for PSC computer. Together, they total $37,752. It turns out that they are for all new server infrastructure and workstations for our first responders. This is 100% reimbursable through a justice assistance grant. And I wanted to thank Chief Rains for making that successful grant application.
Pretty good. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
Motion faithful. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
This is what
What do you got here?
I'm up with short-term rentals.